Delta Squad, made up of 4 commandos: Boss, Fixer, Sev, and Scorch. Delta Squad wasn't just another clone team. Created in Tipoca City on Camino, they were part of Arca Company under the Special Operations Brigade, taking orders from Jedi like Arligan Zay, Barden Jusik, and later Etain Tormokan. On some ops, they got support from a clone advisor known only as 01-425. Like the rest of the Grand Army, they went through flash training. But Delta's real edge came from Waylon Wow, a Mandalorian from the Kui Valdar. He didn't just train soldiers, the guy basically built weapons with personalities. RC-1138, Boss, the leader. He wasn't much of a talker, just focused on results. When his squad touched down on Geonosis, it was Boss who navigated the underground chaos while calling shots mid-firefight. He later reported the massacre at Deveron directly to the Jedi Council, calm, precise, composed. That was how he led. RC-1140, Fixer. Second in command, he was quiet and all business. On the RAS Prosecutor, when the ship went dark, it was Fixer who cracked the corrupted systems and rerouted power while droids closed in. RC-1207, Sev, R's Sniper. He was aggressive and ruthless. It was never just missions for him. He made it personal. On Kashyyyk, Sev held the line alone, shooting slavers from treetops while his squad moved in. When he went missing during exfil, no one could say if he died or simply chose to stay in the fight. RC-1262, Scorch. He was an explosives expert. Scorch always had a joke, even when setting charges in a war zone. On Coruscant, during an op to stop a separatist terror cell, he planted bombs so precisely that the target building collapsed without touching the ones next to it. So, a funny but deadly fellow. The squad's first real test came on Geonosis. While regular clones fought on the surface, these guys went deep, sabotaging droid factories, planting charges, and cutting off power. They worked fast, clean, and without backup. That mission proved they were more than soldiers, they were specialists. Then came their mission on the RAS Prosecutor, a Republic assault ship that had gone dark. Inside, it was a ghost ship, no comms, no crew, just scattered bodies and shadows moving in the dark. Delta cleared it room by room. Fixer traced power signals to a hidden separatist infiltration, while Scorch set traps to box them in. On Coruscant, they were tasked with stopping a separatist terror cell, not in a war zone, but right under the Republic's nose. It was a quiet op. They blended in, tracked targets, and took them out before civilians even knew the threat was there. Another mission led them to the remains of Kosai, a Kaminoan scientist who had defected. What was left of her, just a severed head, was discovered during a chase through the underbelly of the galaxy. Finding her changed everything, because Kosai knew how to stop the clones' accelerated aging. But even with that valuable information, nothing was done. Then came their mission on Kashyyyk. The Wookiees were under attack, and Delta Squad was sent in ahead of the main army. They rescued Tarful, the Wookiee chieftain, from Trandoshan slavers. Scorch's explosives tore through their stronghold, while Sev picked off guards before they ever saw the squad coming. They later defended Wookiee villages from incoming droid waves, Fixer rigging shield systems and setting up defenses, while Boss coordinated the strike teams. Their final mission was to take out a separatist light destroyer before it could escape orbit. They boarded it mid-flight, fought their way to the engine core, and blew the ship from the inside. Scorch's charges were set on a tight timer, and the squad barely made it out. In fact, one of them didn't. Sev vanished. They searched for him for as long as they could, but eventually, Boss had to give the evacuation order. In canon, only Scorch shows up again in the Bad Batch as a high-ranking officer working on a secret science project for the Empire. The rest, Boss, Fixer, and Sev, haven't been seen since, so we never really know their fate. In Legends, however, the squad joined the Empire after Order 66. They became part of the 501st Legion, hunted Jedi and deserters, and were stationed on Syntax 2. But once again, their story was never finished. After learning all about the impact of Delta Squad, let's talk about an equally impressive team, Clone Force 99, also known as the Bad Batch. They were a commando squad in the Republic during the Clone Wars, made up of 5 clones, each with a different genetic mutation that gave them abilities regular clones didn't have. They were some of the best soldiers the Republic had. The team worked under the Special Operations Brigade and was known for their unique skills and teamwork. While the Kaminoans saw their mutations as flaws, these flaws made them better soldiers. First up, we have Hunter, the leader. With enhanced senses, especially his hearing, he's able to always stay one step ahead. During a mission on Ryloth, Hunter led the team through a jungle filled with separatist ambushes, knowing exactly where where they were before they could strike. Calm, focused, and always looking out for his squad, Hunter was the kind of leader who knows when to follow orders and when to break the rules. Next, we have Gregor, the muscle. His unmatched strength is why he loves being in the thick of battle. On Annexes, he charged into a group of droids, smashing through them until the path was clear for the squad. Being the strong one never stopped Gregor from keeping things light for the team with his humor though. Next is Tech, the genius. His sharp mind and tech skills made him an essential asset to the squad. During a mission while the others were fighting, Tech easily hacked into the Separatist computer systems to get the information they needed. Tech always found the solution, whether it's fixing a broken ship or analyzing enemy plans. Then we've got Crosshair, the sniper. His aim was deadly and nothing got out past him. On Camino, he took out droids from a distance, picking them off one by one without being seen. He's focused, calm under pressure, and never misses a shot. Even as things changed after Order 66 and he sided with the Empire, no one could deny that his skills were unmatched. And finally, we have Echo, the normal one. Well, as normal as you can be in this world. While Echo wasn't genetically altered like the rest, his journey had made him just as unique. When he was part of Domino Squad, Echo was captured by the Separatists and turned into a cyborg. His enhancements made him an invaluable asset to the Bad Batch. During missions, Echo always used his cybernetic abilities to hack into enemy systems, solve problems, and communicate across long distances. When the squad was stuck on the Separatist ship, Echo hacked into the system and got them the information they needed. Because even without genetic mutations, you can still save the day. All these guys first showed up in Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7. They helped rescue Echo and shut down forces on Annexes, fighting with the Republic against the Separatists who had been using Echo's knowledge to try and stay one step ahead. After the Republic fell and Order 66 happened, the Bad Batch didn't go along with the Empire like most clones. They went rogue. They didn't settle down. They kept moving, kept fighting. They took on mission after mission, not for orders, but because it was the right thing to do. They helped people who were trapped, hunted, or forgotten in the chaos the Empire left behind. Each mission pulled them deeper into a different galaxy with different challenges, but they never lost sight of who they were, soldiers and protectors. On one of their most important missions, on Kalur, they saved a Padawan when everyone else was following Order 66. They tried to grab Count Dooku's treasure on Sereno and tried to build a better life. And then on Raxus, they helped a senator who once stood against them, but that didn't matter, because standing up to the Empire meant more to them now. On Rylith, they fought side by side with freedom fighters to save Hera Syndulla's family, and on Kashyyyk they stood with Wookiees and a young Jedi named Gunji to protect the forest world from Imperial mercenaries. After the Clone Wars, one of their most notable acts was breaking Gregor, the former clone commando, out of an Imperial prison. Gregor had been captured after his service, but with the team's help, he was freed and able to join their ranks again. All of these moments of bravery and struggle are brought to life in the Bad Batch series, where you can follow the squad through changing galaxies as they try to survive, stay free, and figure out where they really belong. The show wrapped up with Season 3 in 2024, bringing their post-Clone Wars journey to a close. It showed the team's final battles, losses, and where they had each ended up after the rise of the Empire. Before the Bad Batch freed Gregor, there was Foxtrot Group, another squad with its own story. They were a small team of clone commandos, led by Captain Gregor. They were known for taking on the most dangerous missions too risky for regular troops. Their assignments often took them behind enemy lines where they usually had to face impossible odds. They were part of the Special Operations Brigade, working under Commander Cody and Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they were also attached to the 212th Attack Battalion. Foxtrot Group first appeared in Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 5, and that's where we learned about Captain Gregor's service record. He was one of the best, and his team was crucial in missions that needed more than just your average clone. In the second year of the war, Foxtrot Group found themselves at the Battle of Sayrish, which ended in disaster. Most of the squad was wiped out, and Gregor was left badly injured. He was reported as missing in action after that, but his story didn't end there. After crashing on Ahabafar, he suffered from amnesia and didn't remember who he was. For a while, he was just a soldier with no past, confused about his purpose. That didn't stop him though. Once his memory returned, and he realized he was a clone commando and that his loyalty was to the Republic, Gregor jumped back into action, ready to serve again. He helped with critical missions, like rescuing Jedi Master Plo Koon, and even with all his doubts and struggles, Gregor proved he was still a soldier at heart. He never gave up, continuing to fight until the end of the Clone Wars. And though Foxtrot was believed to be lost, their captain carried on, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there were always soldiers willing to fight for the Republic. Now let's talk about a squad that saw a little more action than Foxtrot, Omega Squad. They were a team of clone commandos in the Grand Army of the Republic during the Clone Wars. They were formed from the survivors of different squads that had been wiped out early in the war. They became a key part of the Special Operations Brigade, often working under Jedi General Etienne Tormokan. We first have Niner. Niner, aka RC-1309, became the leader of Omega Squad after his original team, Lambda Squad, was wiped out at Geonosis. Niner's strength was his quick thinking. He always knew what to do when push came to shove. On Fest, Omega Squad was sent to destroy a separatist lab. The lab was well guarded, but Niner didn't care. He came up with a plan to distract them by making them think the squad was somewhere else, and it worked. While the guards focused on the fake target, Omega snuck in and planted explosives. And then there's Darman. Darman, or RC-1136, was the squad's explosive expert. He came from Theta Squad, which was also destroyed in action. What made Darman stand out wasn't just his skill with demolitions, it was his guts. He never hesitated to charge into danger and always stayed calm under pressure. During one mission, when trapped by droids, he rigged a building to collapse, blocking the battle droids and local militia, giving the team a chance to escape. Next is Aten. Aten, also called RC-3222, joined Omega after everyone on Prudy Squad was killed. As the tech expert, Aten was essential when they needed to hack into enemy systems or troubleshoot gear. During the mission to infiltrate a separatist base, he hacked into their security system, opening any locked door in seconds. Aten was the calm, steady presence the team relied on. Then there's Phi. Phi, or RC-8015, came from Terok Squad, which was another squad lost at Geonosis. As Omega's sniper and medic, he had to balance precision with care. On one mission, Phi took out the enemy snipers, then rushed to treat an injured teammate right after. A perfect example of how he handled both of his roles. And even in life or death situations, Phi always managed to keep the team laughing. Last is Core. Core, also known as RC-5108 or 8843, originally worked at bomb disposal before losing both arms in an accident, but he was nothing if not resilient. After receiving prosthetics, he restrained as a commando and joined Omega while Phi was recovering from an injury. It was an opportunity for him to prove that he could keep the team focused, steady, and most importantly, alive. Omega's first mission together took them to Kilura, where they were sent to stop a separatist scientist who was creating a virus to target clones. The mission got off to a rough start when a bird strike hit their transport, forcing the squad to jump into action earlier than they planned. The team still went on several dangerous missions together after that. They saved a senator during a hostage crisis, got trapped behind enemy lines while chasing terrorists, until Delta Squad came to the rescue and helped with a bombing investigation on Coruscant. They also supported a rebel uprising on Gaftikar, where Phi was badly hurt, and hunted down a rebel leader on Horgob who was sabotaging Republic supplies. Whether it was rescuing, infiltration, or simply tracking down enemies, this team could get any job done. Unfortunately, Omega Squad's story didn't have a proper ending. The book series about them, The Republic Commando by Karen Trevis, was never finished, so we still don't know their fate. Over time, the squad began to drift apart. Phi never fully recovered from what happened on Gaftikar, Darman decided to join the Empire to stay close to his son, and Niner went with him. Aten, although still around, was also no longer working with the team. Too worn down by everything they'd been through, it was easier for them to just go their separate ways. Next up, let's dive into another top-notch team, Sigma Squad. They were a team of clone commandos who were sent on difficult missions during the Clone Wars. All of them were clones of the bounty hunter Jango Fett. Even though the team's lineup shifted over time, we do know some of its key members. We have our first leader, RC-1233. He fought in the first battle of Geonosis, where he was killed. But before that, he stood out for his curiosity. During battle, while others focused only on survival, he collected soil from the planet to examine later. He was also known for his speeches, which kept his team going even in the middle of chaos. Then came RC-1121, known as Burnout. He took over after Geonosis and led the squad until the end of the war. He got his name for a reason. During one mission, he used flame troopers to wipe out a whole line of enemy bunkers, clearing the path for the rest of the troops. Burnout believed in actions over words, which is probably why he blamed his old squad for their deaths, thinking they didn't follow his orders. Burnout also had a habit of ignoring commands he didn't agree with, following his own instincts instead. After that, we have RC-1125, or Viper. He was both a sniper and a medic. That mix made him a key part of the team. After Geonosis, he patched up the wounded while still taking shots from a distance, barely saying a word. He wasn't one to show much emotion. His silence came from the pain of losing too many teammates. His aim was sharp, and his medical skills kept others alive, even if he wasn't exactly gentle about it. Then there was RC-1311, also called Shock. He loved using tactics from the shock troopers, hence his name. His armor was even painted in red and white to match what would later become the Coruscant Guard. Shock believed in fear and surprise. On missions, he came up with ways to scare or outsmart enemies before the fighting even started. Next, we got RC-1214, nicknamed Demo. He was obsessed with explosives. He didn't just blow things up, he studied structures to find weak spots first. That way, he could make a clean break without alerting anyone. He once helped the team break into a heavily guarded building by placing charges in just the right places, using his knowledge of how it was built to get them inside. died. Finally, RC-1519, known as Rook, came from a squad that trained him to plan more and rush less, so he liked to sit back, think, and then act. In unpredictable battles, Rook was the one to keep his head and help the team move smartly instead of just blindly charging in. These guys took part in several major missions throughout the Clone Wars. They fought at the first Battle of Geonosis, where they tried, but failed, to take out Poggle the Lesser. They later hunted Jedi Barriss Offee through the jungles of Felucia after Order 66. They were also a crucial part of the Battle of Kamino, sent to destroy Tipoca's city defenses. And then on Umbara, they saved hundreds of troops from an ambush by warning the 212th Battalion in time. Sadly though, Sigma's story ended in tragedy. After the war, they began to fall apart. Burnout, Viper, and Shock were all either killed or went missing on missions, and the squad was eventually disbanded. Now, let's explore the story of another team that played a pivotal role during the war, Iowa Squad. They were a group of clone commandos in the Grand Army of the Republic during the Clone Wars. They were named after the Iowas, flying creatures native to Kamino. The squad was formed in 21 BBY after earlier commando units were lost in battle. Our leader, Sarge, or RC-1013, was a serious and focused guy. Back when he was with White Squad, a mission on Ord Mantell went wrong. Blue Squad was wiped out early, and most of White Squad didn't make it either. Sarge was the only one left standing, so when he took charge of Iowa Squad, it wasn't just about following orders anymore. It was about making sure no one else ended up like his old team. Then we got Dekut, RC-8015. He didn't always stick to the plan, but he always came through when it mattered. On Garki, a separatist spider droid moved in to attack and crush a young boy named Evan. Without thinking, Dekut jumped out from his cover and fired at the droid to draw its attention, then ran straight at it. He got close enough to plant a charge that blew it apart just in time to save that boy. Next was Taito, or RC-4444. He was the calmest one in the squad. On Garki, while others were pushing through the last of the droids, he stayed back just long enough to guide a group of civilians out through a side path, quietly and without panic, and without ever slowing the mission down. Last but not least was Zag, aka RC-4567. He kept the squad laughing, but that didn't make him any less reliable. When Sarge gave orders, Zag followed. No questions asked. These guys' first mission together took place on Garki. They were sent in to wipe out remaining separatist forces. After clearing the zone and looking for survivors, their next task was to lead civilians to safety at a refugee camp under the supervision of Jedi General Travis. And then, as soon as they reached the camp, Order 66 was issued. With no hesitation, no debate, Sarge gave the command to the squad along with the other clones. They all turned, raised their weapons, and fired, and General Travis never made it out. After the war, the team was incorporated into the Empire as part of the Imperial Commando Special Unit, tasked with hunting Jedi and dealing with anyone who resisted the Empire. Before we wrap up, here are a few lesser-known clone commando squads that didn't get as much attention but still played a key role during the Clone Wars, mostly units that came before Omega Squad or appeared briefly in other media. Let's start with Niner's old squad, Lambda Squad, a group of clone commandos who fought for the Grand Army of the Republic. They went through tough training under Kal Skirata. This squad was formed after a failed mission on Felucia, where Commander Rocco and his team lost most of their men. Only Rocco and 3 others, Fridge, Headhunt, and Crusher, survived, and the rest of the unit was wiped out. On their first mission on Geonosis, things didn't get much better. Lambda Squad faced even more losses. 04, Didi, and Sev, not the Sev from Delta Squad, were killed, making them part of the nearly 5,000 clone commandos lost in that battle. The only one to survive was Sergeant Niner. Now let's talk about Darmon's team before Omega, Theta Squad. They were the first clone commando units formed in 32 BBY right after the clones were created. The team was made up of Taller, Vin, Jay, and Darmon. Sadly, things went wrong during their mission at the first Battle of Geonosis. They were sent to destroy a secret droid factory, but failed. Almost all of the squad members died trying to enter the factory, and only Darmon made it out alive. Next is Aten's old squad, Prudy Squad, another clone commando team formed at the start of the Clone Wars. Like other commando squads, they trained under the Kuival Dar, a group of 100 specialists chosen to train clones based on Jango Fett's DNA. In 22 BBY, Prudy Squad was sent to fight in the first Battle of Geonosis, where they handled both frontline combat and special tasks. Unfortunately, only one member, Aten, survived. Losing his squad hit him hard, and his trainer, Val, went as far as scarring his face with a knife to help him snap out of it. Aten spent 5 months recovering, then was reassigned to Omega Squad for the rest of the war. Then there was Fi's team, Tirok Squad. They were a group of clone commandos that went through some of the toughest training, including tests like the Killing House and Sickener. They were sent to Geonosis at the start of the Clone Wars in 22 BBY to rescue Jedi from the arena. Sadly, the battle was deadly, and Fi, the team's sniper and medic, was the only one to survive. And as we know, Fi later joined Omega Squad. Finally, let's take a quick look at a couple of squads from the expanded Star Wars universe. Ion Team. Ion Team was a clone commando squad under the 22nd Air Combat Wing. Their team included Captain Climber, Trace, Ross, and an unnamed munitions expert. Ion Team fought with Jedi General Rohan Shrine during the Battle of Dekonio Yamodia, then went to Boss Pity and later Morgana. When Order 66 came, they didn't believe it. They thought it was a trick from the Separatists and refused to follow the order. Instead, they helped Trine and other Jedi escape by turning on their commander, Salvo. But eventually Darth Vader caught up with them, Ross and their comms guy were killed, but Clymer and Trace managed to escape for a while. Vader then tried to kill 2 Jedi, but one of them survived, and Clymer and Trace were eventually captured and thrown into prison. Yayak Squad. Yayak Squad was a team of clone commandos trained by Rav Brawler on Kamino. The squad consisted of Kov, Dev, Jind, and Yover. They served in the Grand Army of the Republic during the Clone Wars. During the Battle of Coruscant, Yayak Squad teamed up with Omega Squad and ARC Trooper Oven to defend the HoloNet News HQ from a Separatist attack. After the battle, they helped the Coruscant security force keep the capital safe. But when Order 66 was issued, they couldn't follow through with it. They deserted and eventually made their way to Mandalore with the Naya Valen and Adan Skirata. They joined Kal Skirata and decided to leave military life behind, choosing to live as farmers and carpenters instead.